Hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Dylan Osborne. Thanks so much for tuning into this talk today at the Photography Show entitled, What is Content Creation and How Do You Make a Living from It? So this talk is in conjunction with Sennheiser. I've been talking and working with Sennheiser over the last year, getting to use some of their microphones and try stuff out. And quick intro to me, my name's Dylan. I'm born in South Africa, but I live and work here in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This is my working studio. Sometimes it's a photography studio or a video studio or an illustration studio or a graphic design studio. It really just depends on the client, the project, the brief, the job. But that's what's kind of made what I do for a living so interesting. Now my background is kind of diverse. I worked both agency and brand side as an art director, graphic designer, and photographer. Video was something I worked on in the background alongside other projects. I headed up quite a large internal creative team that covered everything from email design to web banner design to print advertising to the commercials on things like Eurosport. I've also worked in advertising on a range of different brands, from the drinks industry to fashion to clothing to the health sector. So I've had quite a range of work that's really suited my abilities and my mindset. So I wanted to share my insights and thoughts, and maybe it's something that interests you, maybe it's something you see yourself doing, or maybe it's something you didn't consciously consider that you could be doing. So what is content creation? We've heard this term thrown around by everybody for the last few years. Content creators. But I'm not sure we always really think about what it means to be a content creator or what content actually is. A few years ago, I decided I wanted to leave the brand and agency advertising world and go out and work for myself. Now, when I left, my plan was to do design and photography, but that whole thing changed very, very quickly. I kind of found my footing doing Instagram stories, daily stories, kind of like a vlog that you would see on YouTube. Started to work within the restrictions and limitations of the phone and the apps and the cameras and things like that, and taught myself how to create fast, engaging, interesting, bite-sized pieces of video content for people to digest, consume on their phone while they were moving. I did this like every day for 3 years, and I've been doing it since Instagram stories came out. Something I started as just a bit of fun has taught me so many skills, and it's what changed everything for me when I decided to go out on my own. While I was working and creating these Instagram stories, I was getting local companies reaching out to me saying, Dylan, we watch what you do on Instagram. We love watching the stories. We love seeing the photos. We would love it if you could come and do something like that for our brand. And I was like, really? I'm just doing this for a bit of a laugh. And they're like, yeah, but we love how you're doing it. Could you come in and have a chat to us? Because I was working full time, it wasn't really something I could do. But then after assessing it, I decided to just make the change, make the leap, go and try something for me. And wow, it's been incredible. From the get-go, everything that I thought I was gonna be doing was flipped on its head. It very quickly became video content, photo content, social media. What is content creation? This is a term that's thrown around a lot at the minute. So you think about how we used to sit and watch television, or when you're flicking through a magazine, or if you're driving down a street and see a billboard, an advertisement is put in front of you. It's there to sell something, to push something, to promote something. It's very functional, very direct. It's very clearly an advert. Social media, on the other hand, is very conversational. It's very relaxed, it's rough, it's gritty, it's supposed to be honest. So somewhere in the middle of there is a synergy that's like content creation. Content creation is short, accessible bits of media. And that media can be photography or video. It can be written word in the form of blogs. It can be voice like podcasts. Sometimes it's design integrated into written work or into photography, and it's all sort of merged together. But the key thing getting content right is it's not an advertisement. It really needs to give some sort of value to the viewer, to the end user. And this is where I think so many people go wrong. People think because you're filming a video and editing it and putting it on social media, it's content. Advertising is very direct. It's very abrupt. It's very in your face. It's supposed to be like that. It's designed to be quite disruptive. It's supposed to stop you in your tracks and remind you of something. You remembering a product or a brand. When you start to look at like e-commerce though, website banner advertising, affiliate advertising and marketing, all of that is taking elements of that, but it's putting it everywhere, wherever you are, and it follows you around. And that again is a very intrusive kind of advertising. It does have its place, doesn't always work. Social media, on the other hand, is conversational. It's supposed to be honest and open and authentic. It's conversation between people, it's social. When you're walking down the street and people come up to you with a clipboard and they want to sell you on a product or a charity or something, and they stop you in the street and they're like, hey, can you sign this? And you're just like, you become like Neo from the Matrix as you like dodge through them in the road. Think about the feeling you get. You're walking down the street, you're and then suddenly just bang. That's kind of what we're doing on social media. You're in there talking to friends and family, having chats with people, sharing photos, sharing stories. If a brand wants to get in on that, this is where they need content. It's that midpoint that offers consumers and viewers value, like real, honest value. So a business has to look at what they do, what they offer, what their service is, and think, what's of benefit to the viewer? Whether that's informative, educational, entertainment. I work here with a car dealership, right? They're selling cars to people. You come in, you chat to salesmen. Now, car sales has that stigma attached, the car salesman, the floppy, wavy hand man, all that sort of stuff. And naturally, that industry is quite pushy. So I sat down with this company a couple of years ago and we talked about what we wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve. And we looked at creating content for their channels. To overcome that stigma, we needed to sort of tap into both sides, the social media side of it and also the commercial side of it, because car ads are cool. When you see car ads, they look cool. They're supposed to tantalize you and entice you to want to spend an extreme amount of money on a vehicle to drive you between places. But social media is conversational, it's honest, it's authentic. So how do you hit the mark? What do you do in a situation like that? You're trying to sell a high-end product, but you want it to be authentic. It's a really tricky one to do. So we sat down and we looked at what they do. And so a lot of what we're seeing at the minute in the car industry is salesmen talking you through it. And it is super, super honest and authentic. So we were like, well, why don't we just use that style, but push up the production so that you're getting a good, honest insight into the vehicle. You've got a local person who you can visit, who you can trust, who's going to talk you through the car, tell you about the features and all that sort of stuff, but we'll shoot it better than they would on their phone. It's a really difficult one for me to do because I purposefully shoot it a little bit rough. And and it's supposed to be a little bit raw and gritty. And the point is, because I don't want people to see that and feel it's an advertisement, I want it to feel like a polished version of what the salesman would actually do themselves. And we've been doing this for like the last year and a half, and it's been working really, really well. It's a consistent conversation month in, month out about what we did last month, what worked, what didn't work, what we can tweak, what we can adjust, some new ideas. Another good example is a working relationship I have here with a brand called Thunder. Now, this is a great example because I do a mix of stuff for Thunder. So Thunder is an extreme action sports brand. They have a skate park here. They do loads of live events, very, very cool stuff. Their audience has got a lot younger over the years. As someone who used to ride BMX bikes, so I feel like I'm still a bit connected to the industry. So I kind of have a good understanding of it. Each month we sit down, we have a conversation. Should we decide what trigger points or key points or USPs they need to address or sell, or things they need to inform their audience, their viewers of, and then we work out the best, most effective ways we feel to address those. It doesn't mean that every month they need a video. Some months they might need some graphic banners designed. Sometimes they might need photos. Sometimes they might need just a talking head video. Sometimes they need a really energetic skateboarding, a bike riding, a scooter riding video. We're creating content for their end user, for their viewer. We're not just creating content that we want to make and push in front of you. We're thinking, what will people benefit from? What will they get value from? What will they enjoy watching? And the byproduct of that is they share it and they tell their friends and they talk about it. You've got to create content that people can take something away from, that they will openly share and talk about with their friends, because that's the social side of it. Brands have always got this dream that, well, we'll make this cool picture of this post, this video, stick it on our social media and everyone will just lose the plot and the thing will be shared and will all go viral. That rarely happens because people don't care. At competitions, maybe people get away with, but I think that's such a low-hanging fruit. What you should be doing is putting in the graft, putting in the effort as a brand to create regular, valuable content that your viewer will subscribe to. And I don't mean subscribe on YouTube, I mean like actually subscribe to. Read, watch, or listen to on a regular basis, because that gets them invested in your brand. And that gets them interested in your company. And that's how you make that connection. And that is really what content creation is all about. So if you consider it, our job as content creators is not just to go in, film, photograph, design, write any stuff about a business. It's to find the connection point between the end user and the business, or the end user and the product. It's to create a link, a valuable link, something somebody wants to consume. Don't think about the obvious thing, the product or the service you're selling. Think about the stuff that surrounds it. If your client, for example, is a landscape gardener, don't think about the obvious thing, rather the value that they can give around it. So create content around the products that you can use, or ways that you as a homeowner can keep your garden up to scratch, to tidy certain things. Tutorials on plants, on looking after your grass, on killing weeds. You can do that as short videos for Facebook or for Twitter? Why not create a podcast series about what you've learned as a homeowner, but using your information as a professional landscape gardener, and explain to people things they can do, you know, speak to other people, get guests on, talk about it. If you're an interior designer and you work with houses or hotels or stuff, create a video series about interior design. You know, how to lay out and design a room, or how to utilize furniture and all that stuff. So create little small tutorials on how to do it. Me as a photographer and a video maker, I create a lot of stuff around how people can use their phone to create photos or videos, and how to use what you've got and the surroundings around you, because most people don't have loads of gear. Most people don't have years of experience, but they do have a phone in their hand and a drive to want to create their own stuff. It's a small percentage of the information and knowledge that's in my head, but I share that with people, and it allows me to build relationships and get to know people and then work with new people. So you can make a podcast, you can write a blog and take photographs and write the stuff, and it can be very informative educational pieces to explore and address what those problems are and ways you can do it. And as a creator, if you're doing it for a client, you need to sit down and ask those questions. You delve into it, work out what they're doing, find out what those problems are, and then go, right, here's some suggestions we could do. I think it'd be really worth a while if we did a podcast series. There's a bit of back and forth, a bit of conversation about it, but it allows you both to work together, create a synergy between you, and then you can start to work together to create content that's of value. I think one of the main important things to remember with content is it needs to be a regular thing. It needs to support your advertising and marketing. But what happens is people want to spend a bit and make something bigger than what they normally do themselves. And I find I'll go in and we'll sit down, we'll come up with a really cool idea to make a really cool video to promote their business and what they do. And what I started to find out was I would go and create this ad, this video, and we'd put it out, and they would put some spend behind it on social media. And then that's it. That's where it would end. And I worked out really quickly. I'm like, that doesn't work. You need to be supporting it. As a content creator, I go in and I work quite closely with a business, with their marketing team or with the directors, depending on the size of the business. You know, on one hand, I create assets, which is like photos or little video snippets of things, and also do workshops with them to enhance what they create, because it all needs to work hand in hand. There's no point in paying me to come in and do a cool video for you, or a bunch of cool photos, and then you do nothing yourself. The video was great, but no one saw it. You as the business need to create your own content. And either you do it yourself or you pay someone like myself to come and create regular content for you. And it's not so much about producing high-end polished advertising, it's about producing regular, relevant, valuable content. And it needs to be created quickly. But how do you make a living from content creation? I didn't know when I first left. I had no idea. I found a lot of really cool ways to do day work with people where I come in and basically they have me for a day. We sit down, we talk, we shoot photos, we shoot videos, we edit it all there. I hand it over at the end of the day. And I have found that to be a really, really effective way, not only for me time-wise, but also for my clients. I'm able to commit a full day to them, indulge myself and inject myself into their business. So it's a lot of relationship building, but that is what makes it work. That's the magic behind that. I thought I was going to go down the traditional routes of advertising, putting spend behind stuff, pushing my name out, the traditional approach to getting clients. But for me, the thing that has worked as a creative person legitimately has been creating my own content. I'm in my third year of working as a freelancer, and I have yet to put an advert out anywhere. I have yet to put any spend behind any post. I haven't advertised myself in anything. You know, the key has been my own content. I create daily stories on Instagram. I put photographs on Instagram. I share and promote that stuff across Twitter and Facebook. I also create regular videos on YouTube. I work with other creative people here. I do a lot of public talks. I do a lot of workshops. My Instagram stories have always been entertainment mixed with a little bit of information, whether it's about camera gears or shoots or how I take photos or how I edit stuff or how I make videos. And then my YouTube has been a little bit about products, but mostly about creative ideas. Me sharing theories and concepts, but then also creating my own art. We'll call it art, all right? That has worked so well for me. Most of my jobs come from people or brands who find me on social media, follow my page, they invest in me as a human being. They invest in the content that I'm creating and they get value from it. They either learn something or they just get entertainment from it. And so often I find I get a message going, I watch your stuff on YouTube or I see your stuff on Instagram. I'd love to talk to you about what you can do for my company. This is my advertising. This is my marketing. This is how I promote myself as a creative. I literally use content creation to create valuable, informative, entertaining content on multiple platforms to promote myself and my services. So when I sit down with a business, that's what we talk about. And if you want to do something like this, you need to be able to talk to these people, ask questions, find out what makes them tick, what their product or service or business is about, why their audience needs it, what the value is to the audience. And sometimes you need to give away a lot of free information. You know, if you're a builder and you want people to hire you, you should be creating content around things that people can do at home. But so instead you create content showing someone how to plaster a wall or how to fix a light socket if you're an electrician. You create valuable stuff so people align themselves with you as an honest person, as somebody who's given authentic, real advice, and in hope that when they do decide to rewire their entire house, they do decide to build that conversion on the side of their house, that they get in contact with you. I have given away so many tips and tricks about photos and videos and phone stuff over the years. But people are saying you shouldn't give away stuff for free. And I was like, in the old days, back in the olden times, now everything is on the internet. It's all available all the time for free. You have to get on that. You need to do it in a way that makes them remember, relate, enjoy, and return. Someone goes, I need a big, mad, ridiculous video thing. And at the beginning, I was like, okay, we'll make a video. Then you ask them their budget and they go, oh, nothing? Really? Beans. A bag of beans. But as the years have gone on, I've got to the point where I go, hold on a second, let's be realistic with what we can achieve. Maybe you don't need a video. Tell me what you want to do. Tell me about your brand. Tell me what your problem is. Let me advise you on what I think you might need. So what is your budget and what is your current problem? And let's work out a solution that works for you and works for me. And that's effectively what a professional creative person should do across the board. That is our job. I work on such a wide range of stuff. I work with the drinks industry, car industry. I work for the council here, the government. I do stuff with food brands, clothing brands, fashion shows. It changes like all the time and it's always evolving and always adapting. I've taken the stuff I learned for years from working in advertising and I've tried to apply that to a social media approach. You try to find out where the value in that is for a customer and you create content for them around that. That's not pushy, that's not forceful, that's not direct advertising, but it's something that they feel like they've watched and they've learned something, there's something for them to take away from it. One of the things I get asked a lot is people say, Dylan, can you come in and have a chat to us about our social media? And I am no social media expert, but I do understand conversation between people. Merging those two together and creating natural conversation merged with advertising, that's that bit that you need to get right to work out exactly what content creation is. A good example of companies I work with that use content creation well is in the drinks industry, because traditionally you would be flicking through a magazine or an ad would come on TV and it would be showing you the dream of that drink. You know, you get the drink, you pour it in a glass, you sit down at a bar with your friends, you look snazzy. There's a cool photograph of the bottle and the drink and it looks really cool, it looks really pristine. It's got some cool, catchy slogan. Now, that style of advertising is very intrusive, especially when people are putting ads in front of you on things like social media. When you're in scrolling through your feed and looking at what your friends or family are doing and then bang, an advert comes up in your face, you're, oh, please, go away. So you have to find a way to infiltrate that area and not piss people off. Content creation is about showing what they can do with it. You know, with this drink and these other things, you can make this cocktail. Think about it like a magazine. You buy a magazine for the content that's inside it. You buy it for the stories, for the tips, for the tricks, for the insights to new products or ways of doing stuff. You're buying it for the value that's inside the magazine. You're not buying it for the advertising. You need to be creating something of value that people will want to come back and consume more. Your advertising should run alongside that. It's the ads in the magazine. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So thank you so much for listening or watching or tuning into this. Big shout out to the guys at Sennheiser and the team at the Photography and Video Show. If you have any further questions after this whole event or you want to go and have a look at my Instagram and my YouTube channels, find me online, Dylan Osborne or Dill Takes Photos. So thanks so much for watching and I hope you enjoy all the other cool talks and presentations that are going on throughout the weekend. That should be good.